it's Pete here, and today I wanted to tell you about my recent trip that I went on to. I went to the Barrier Reef Congress up in Townsville. This is an event that I go to basically every year, and it rotates between 5 different towns all along the Great Barrier Reef. And it's always just like this fun social event. And what we actually usually do is we turn it into a little bit of a holiday as well. So we've got a friend up in Townsville that's actually got a boat up there, and we'd often fly up to Townsville, and whichever town it's in, we would typically sail from there to the event through the Great Barrier Reef. Absolutely sensational. We've been doing that for a few years before I actually had kids. And then when I had kids, that slowed that down. So we've just been flying up and playing on the team and just having good fun. So for this event, in the pairs, I actually came second. I was playing with Mike Doki. He's the captain of the Australian under-26 team. We finished with 115 VPs, 0.08 between Justin Mill and Hugh McGann. So basically, if we won one extra imp at any point throughout this, I think we would have jumped them and gotten first, but unfortunately we didn't. And rounding out the top 3 is David Appleton and Phil Markey. So this was a great result. But Justin, my old partner, who I represented Australia with, was playing with Hugh McGann, who's actually been on the Irish Open team, but now lives over in New Zealand. But they took it out and snuck in front of us with a big win in the final one to just jump us. But we were still happy getting second. In the teams, we were on the Lewin team, and we managed to come 4th. So overall, relatively successful event with a 2nd and a 4th. For this, the Whitaker team won, which was Fred Whitaker, Ashley Bark, David Appleton, and Phil Markey. And then the Morrison team was in 2nd with Julian Foster, Dave Weston, Tony Hutton, Kim Morrison. And in 3rd was the Ward team, which was Rob Ward, Liz Sylvester, Robbie Fider, and Peter Gill. So it was really close for us between 2nd and 4th. First, just absolutely blew it out of the water. We managed 6 wins, 1 draw, and a loss. They got 7 wins and 1 loss, but just had big results basically all the way through. Whereas ours was kind of the opposite. We got a 1 imp, and then nearly all of our results were less than 10 imps. Not something that I'm typically used to, but I want to go through some of the hands. But before I do, for this, it's like a really great trip that we got to do. So I want to just highlight some of the stuff that we did. So we flew up 3 days early and got to sort of relax, settle into it. It's fantastic weather up in Townsville, which is in like North Queensland. It's up in the tropics there. So we flew in and had some just relaxing time where we got to hang out with our friends, sitting out on this deck and just enjoying the views there. Then we actually had a day trip over to Magnetic Island, which is like a 20-minute ferry trip to an island just off the coast. And I actually did a 10K hike with a friend, Addie, Hugh McGann, and Mike Doki. And we went and explored up all this and had this great view throughout that. But let's jump in and take a look at some hands. So these 2 hands came from the pairs final. I was sitting north, which is flipped. It's just down the bottom here. I'm focusing on that moment. And we're playing against James Coots and Andrew Spooner. Andrew Spooner was on my Bridge Brawl team. James Coots is semi-regularly on the Australian Open team. And we're at table 1, and we knew while we were currently in front, we have the toughest draw out of all the people at the top 3 tables. Anyway, I had this interesting decision to start off with. So it goes 1 diamond, 1 no trump overcall, and 2 diamonds. And you have to work out, what do you actually want to do with this? Now, me and Mike are not a regular partnership. We're not, we don't have heaps of agreements wherever it is. But I elected to start with just a takeout double. Went pass, and partner bid 3 clubs. So initially when I was trying to think about this, it was like, well, what do I actually need for slam? Firstly, if partner bids spades, 2 spades, queen 4th spade, doubleton king of hearts, ace king of clubs is like a 12 count that can make slam. And I haven't given him any diamond value. but he has some wasted diamond values. And like, I don't really need that much for slam, but that was if I was hearing a 3 spade bid. Now, I got a 3 club bid, so I wasn't super interested in that. Now, I decided to give up on slam and just bid 4 spades instead of like 3 spades, which is presumably forcing. I didn't want to mess about. I just bid 4 spades, and that actually got passed out. And then we got the ace of clubs lead. I got the surprise of my life when my partner had actually psyched and just bid 1 no trump on this hand. Now, on this, I'll open up all the cards. I'll flip around. So here was the whole layout. And I was pretty worried about going off for a little while because it went low club. They encouraged. And then it actually went a low diamond, underleading the ace king over. And then they got to play king of clubs. My queen drops. And then another club. And at this stage, I roughed in with the 10, worried about losing to the queen. But fortunately, they didn't actually have that. And at this stage, the queen then fell and I made. So this one I got to 4 spades. We won 1 imp for this. 4 spades was a relatively normal spot. But a super unusual way of getting there. And this caused lots of discussion about what people's thoughts about Mike's psych of 1 no trump there. And should they do it in the match position or not? And you don't often do it. I wasn't expecting it. Mike actually gave my bidding problems to one of his friends. And after a diamond and no trump, 2 diamonds, he thought for a while and was like, it doesn't really add up. I think someone's psyched. So when thinking about that north hand, there was like too many points for what's going on. And you can kind of trust your vulnerable opponents maybe. But that wasn't on my radar. We didn't really play much before this. First time I've seen it caught me off guard. But so that was the first board of our final round of the finals of the pairs. This next one, here I've got an 11 count and it went 1 diamond on my right. So how would you try and navigate this? So here I've got length in the opponent's suit, so straight away, bidding didn't seem to make much sense here. So I started with pass, I went 1 spade, but now partner came in with 2 hearts, and then there was a support double. And at this stage, I've got lots of options about what do I actually want to do. So I've got a great hand, I want to get to 4 hearts, but I'm very much just expecting a 4 spade bid over that. So a couple of bids I could consider. I could bid 2 spades, which would be a Q raise, 10 or more points with heart support. I could bid 3 spades, which would be a splinter. But what I ended up choosing was actually bidding 4 hearts here. And the reason for this is I wanted to try and plan a couple of bids and think like, how do I actually want to approach this? Whichever bid I make, I'm expecting a 4 spade bid over that. And now my partner may or may not double 4 spades, but do I want to defend 4 spades or do I want to bid 5 hearts? And I was trying to gauge that. And I thought that my hand had decent play for 5 hearts no matter what. So if I wasn't willing to defend 4 spades or 4 spades doubled, I thought that I may as well show my hand as a weaker option. And that way I might catch a double more often. Anyway, I went 4 spades, partner doubled that, I went pass, and I followed through my plan of bidding 5 hearts. And that got doubled again, and that went all pass. And that was the whole hand, so I'll open it up. And here, Mike had a great hand. He had 5 spades, which I wasn't really expecting. One of my fears for him doubling was he might double not knowing that I've got such a big spade fit, thinking just with like 3 really good spades or 4 spades. And I thought I would give this a shot. Now, he had great shape here, so 5 hearts doubled made. We lost 1 club and 1 diamond. But largely he got to ruff 2 of his spades and pitch 1 on a high diamond there and actually make 5 hearts doubled for a good score. So there are a couple of the boards from the pairs final. The board he psyched on, we picked up 1 imp for, so it didn't really matter at all. But this one was decent pickup. But let's jump in and take a look at an interesting one from the teams. All right, so for this one, I was actually playing with my wife, Laura. And she opened 1 diamond and it went pass. I bid a spade and she bid a no trump. So at this stage, I wanted to think, well, can we ever make slam opposite like 11 to 14 balanced? So I definitely want to play in at least 4 spades, but what would I actually need to make 6 spades? So I was trying to give her some hands and I was thinking, all right, king of spades, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds, queen of hearts. So if she's got that hand, king, queen, ace, ace, that's a 13 count, where slam is basically lay down on a somewhat sensible spade break. But my issue here is there were some hands where, firstly, if she doesn't have 3 key cards for a 1 no trump bid, I do not want to be in slam. Also, if she just has really good diamonds, I'm basically not going to be making slam either. Like ace of clubs, ace, queen, jack of diamonds, queen, jack of hearts is a 14 count. That has like no play for slam, and the 5 level is very dangerous. So I've got this like dream of making slam, but I also don't want to get to the 5 level unnecessarily. Now, we, again, didn't have many agreements here. I kind of wanted to bid 3 spades as a slam try. She probably would have taken it as that, but I knew that I could do something else. I bid 2 diamonds, which was 2-way check back, saying, partner, tell me more. And she bid 2 hearts. And now I bid 3 spades. And this is just saying, partner, I have 6 spades. Spades are trumps, and I'm interested in slam. It's just how we're going to play it. And over this, she bid 4 clubs Q bid. So she got a good hand. But I only wanted her to move on like an absolute maximum hand. So here, I then bid 4 spades over this, just saying, partner, no, I am just looking for like the dream. I've said I've got a slam try. You've cooperated at like the easiest spot to cooperate. And I clearly could Q bid diamonds or hearts. I can't have a hand that can't have that. So I'm just offering you some judgment of, do you actually want to bid slam or not? Now, over that, she actually bid 5 diamonds. And I was like, I really just want the hand that knows that it can go to slam. Now, over this, I just signed off in 5 spades, and this is where it stopped. We got the queen of diamonds lead, and I think she'd done rather well. She had 3 key cards, like a bare minimum. She had 3 cards spade support and 3 key cards. So she knows that's pretty much what I'm looking for, but she didn't want to bid it with just an absolute bare minimum. So I think she did really well queuing twice. Now, as it is, slam, I guess, is slightly poor because we've got these 2 hearts. At minimum, you need a heart to the king to work. You need the ace of hearts on side, but we can't pick up any 4-0 spade breaks. Now, it's hard to judge if slam is bad or not because if East had the ace of hearts, they might have let it. So sometimes you might make doing that. Now, on the whole hand, the ace of hearts ended up being on side and the spades broke. So we made 12. But I thought this one was an interesting bidding one where I wanted to make a slam try and find just the perfect hand and try and stop safely. And she had a fitting card, but like a minimum. To me, it wasn't enough to want to give it a shot. But we ended up in 5. We made 6. This was not a swing. But I thought it was an interesting hand nonetheless, and how to sort of navigate these spots where you don't always just have to blast Roman key card as your only way of doing it. Anyway, that was some of the hands from Townsville. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks all for watching, and we'll see you next time.